Welcome everyone to a new build along. This one is going to come in the form of a time lapse, and as you can probably tell, I'm in a mood to build a wee bit of a castle. This is the Granite Wayfinder castle, and this thing is mainly just something that I came up with on a whim. So here's how I built it. I started off by outlining some general shapes for the vision of the castle that I wanted to include. This one is going to be a bit more symmetrical than I would normally like to achieve, especially for something that's supposed to be like a proper medieval castle, but I guess the castle is a bit of a misnomer to begin with, because this ended up being a bit more of a cathedral rather than anything else. I also wanted to experiment a little bit with playing off of the reddish sort of color of the granite and the very vibrant green of moss and stuff along those lines that I personally think doesn't see enough love nowadays. Utilizing tuff as sort of the base layer and dark oak just came sort of naturally on this one. So yeah, most of the time I sort of fiddle around and see what sticks and what doesn't on the one side of the castle before swiftly copy pasting it across all four sides of the cathedral, taking special care to, you know, not do that. Yeah, I mean, it's not a clear copy-paste. I did forget about the second tower on each of the gates, but that was a fairly easy thing to fix, thankfully. Being happy with the general shape of the castle itself and wanted to add a little bit more, I decided to build in a few extra towers just so, you know, you can have a bit more of an advantage point to defend the cathedral. You know, following the same general shape and general feel of the Wayfinder castle that I've already established. Also connecting them to the main sort of outer wall of the castle, because, you know, you need access to the towers, otherwise how are you going to defend the cathedral? I believe that it is about at this point that I start texturing stuff, like I add a bunch of texture to the moss stuff, even adding some flowers and mixing and matching some flowering and regular azaleas into the fray. I also played around with the texture of the granite itself, mixing and matching things like dripstone, things like mud brick, things like regular clay bricks, and even jungle wood, because of course it's these are sort of the same color blocks. And then I had a lot of fun designing this very cliffy, very jagged, very stony terrain for the tough layer of the entirety of the Wayfinder castle, taking extra special care to keep the general texture of the lived-in insides of the cathedral castle walls, whilst also making sure that it's reasonably tidy, sort of indicative of the fact that the people inside would be actually, you know, taking care of this place significantly more than they would than the cliffs outside of the castle walls. But it's still going to have that texture where everything is a bit messy and everything is a bit like chiseled away, indicated by the lighter shades of the more utilized parts of the stone path from between the castle walls and the central sort of cathedral itself. Here you can see me experimenting a little bit with the different textures and whatnot. I utilized tuff for this for no other reason than because I felt like tuff was just a better version of cobblestone, but I also mixed up a bunch of cobblestone into the mix because obviously it's a very nice synergy. And yeah, here's me adding some final touches, some of the final brush strokes, mixing and matching flowers on some of the moss covered stuff that is supposed to grow flowers, and then adding a bunch of texture on the tops of the outer walls, sort of making it feel once again lived and used by. And yeah, the final one is just adding stuff trademark, such as barrels, crates, that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm gonna let Eric take this one and add some beauty shots to the Wayfinder castle with all the fancy shaders and stuff along those lines. This was a very nice building to just let my imagination fly. I hope you enjoyed the build and the video alike. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.